Oh, here we go. All right. So, what have we done? What have we done? Let's see, current view is 0. See, this is the bit where I just don't know whether I should just like talk to myself, because if someone goes to watch on a replay later, they'll expect something, right? So maybe I should just talk to myself. Oh, hey, someone's here. How's everyone going? Let's see. So we're going to call this one Is the Dump Over? And looking just at the daily liquidity, probably not. Could we bounce? Yeah, we could bounce up from here, but we haven't really taken everything to the downside, either on Sol or BTC. Looking at that, so I don't think it's over. I think maybe we bounce. Oh, look, we bounce. Well, that's hype. Sorry, I'm in a hype long scalp because I could. Just had to do that. Just talk to you. Is that abrasive, Justin? I don't like abrasive. Because you like friendly, happy Justin? Anyway, now you can be abrasive. I don't mind abrasive. Yeah, so I've left the couch. I'm mildly intoxicated, but that's because it's a beautiful day outside, and it was definitely a day with day drinking. Let's have a bit of a look through and see what's happened. I'll just wait for the scalp. I just want to get my TP. Okay, so Sol BTC. So yesterday we bounced off. Yeah, it was too, wasn't it? Yesterday we bounced off this level, and I posted something in the Discord a little bit ago, I think. I posted a 2-day chart from the exchange in the Discord just earlier, and I said the target is something if it happens fast, and the target will change otherwise, or like you have to look lower. So just FYI, that's because if you don't have a hold level, you don't actually have a target. In this case, we hit this thing, came up here, opened the new candle, hit the hold level, dumped. Okay, so this was basically an origin bounce, and that's what gave Sol that little bit of strength towards the end of the day, towards close. But the problem is that we didn't really get up high enough. So what ended up happening is the next candle opens, smacks into you know the body of the hold there, which is the greedy part of the hold, and then all the greedy orders kick in, and all the BTC starts to get bought, and the Sol gets sold, and down we go. So we've hit the backside of this trend that's coming through here, which might even be a range trend. No, prior broken. Okay, so it's prior broken trend. So we're retesting prior broken trend. We're retesting uptrend. So as far as targets for this, the targets vary depending on how much time we spend down here. If we spend too much time down here, then the target becomes just sort of around this area, because it's just going to smack into the backside of this and use as resistance, and it'll be stuck under that trend and so on. If they push it further, because there's 19 hours to go on this damn candle, which is why it's always bad to make high time frame decisions early in the piece, but if they push it further, then the resistance could be under here, and that means it goes lower. Now, if they pump up really quickly today, the targets will be something higher than yesterday, and that's because this hold level here isn't a hold level until this candle closes. So if it pushes up fast enough, then it goes up and tests the range high again, or one of these trends, or probably could delete that one because that was that rejection there. So that's where that is. Okay, so the weekly, yeah, so they shoved the weekly down under the trend and opened it. So of course we dump. the thing about this too is that like you got 6 days and 20 hours to go. It can keep going, or it could pull back up. You just don't know. Like with timeframes like that, they quite often eh, on something like a USD chart or a USDT chart or something, it would go down for as long as possible to get as much capitulation as possible, and then it would go back up towards the end of the week. But at this stage, we don't really know what will happen here, other than it probably will recover that trend by the end of the week, probably. Monthly has hit trend, so that means we could, very early in the month, but it could bounce back up to this 17770 based off hitting this. And all of this has started from the wrong side of the range trend. So although we are pushing up and we're having some kind of dump on altcoins, certainly within the next 24 hours, you'd probably expect this to pull back down. So that says we should get some kind of relief bounce. What else we got? Weekly, same thing. It's gone from the wrong side of the trend, so could pull back down. Although it might actually end up breaking the downtrend if it ends up closing up. So I don't really want to see that happen. Monthly's in the middle. Doesn't mean anything. If it goes up, if we get more of a dump, eventually you will get a reversal because it's going to smack into this resistance if it keeps going up. But likewise, if we get a reversal, it's going to eventually hit this trend, and then you'll get a reversal of the reversal. Price always goes up and down. And now into the fun stuff. So the totals. So just before they closed, they pulled that candle down, which meant trend, which meant rejection. So if they'd kept that thing up, closed back up inside that hold level, then yeah, would have been. In fact, they did that. That's just beautiful. They basically just went up into there and then pulled back, created trend, dump. You're able to chase that little long into the end of the day. Don't show my wife any of this. What's going down? I can't even think what I've just said. What have I said? Don't show my wife any of this. I haven't shown any feet pics or anything, have I? Anyway, what do we got going on here? Okay, so total. Oh, hey, my trade's done for the day. I can go back to the couch. Hype's finished. Wherever that was. Is that hype? Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to scalp from you again. Go back to the couch and continue drinking. 'Cause you don't need to be thinking. Yeah, alright, let's go back to serious shit. Oh boy. Oh jeez, I just thought something really rude. My wife always hid her spot from me. I could never find it. So. Oh dang. I should go now. Right. Anyway, we've hit a daily origin on the total market cap. Okay, so we should bounce. The thing is, with 18 hours to go, fair capitulation, blah blah blah. They might keep pushing down for a bit. They may bounce around. They might just, it may just be, it may just be a complete mess for the next I don't know, 18 hours and 58 minutes. But it should come back up. So looking at that, it should bounce. Now, if it gets up to say this this level here at about, or as long as it returns back into the range. So this 3.32, that is the range, that's been broken now. We've hit this origin. The origin wants to test a hold level or a trend, which means a complete reversal of this candle. In fact, this could actually technically go higher, right? So, but it depends on time. So if it spends too long underneath this break, then this becomes the retest. If it gets above there, but doesn't get above here, then this becomes the retest. If it gets above here, but doesn't get back up to the trend, this becomes the retest. All right, so it's all about time. It's about how long it spends down. So, and the weekly never actually engulfed. So same sort of thing. It's like it can create a target that doesn't exist yet, which would be if it spends too much time down here at the trend, then the target would become like the underside body of this candle. Or that, but that's already there. Okay, so yeah, it would become the underside body of that. If they keep pushing down under the trend and actually dump the entire market further and manage to stay down here, then the target would become something like the wick to the body, or it would become the trend or the underside of one of these other levels. But for now, if it bounces, it's probably going to come back up to that 3.45 because it did start from within the range. Okay, so the key thing here is that we dumped to support from inside a range, which means typically over the next 6 days, it would probably come back up into the range. Did you do the 1 day fib? Yeah, it was a fib scalp on hype that we'd been waiting on for a while. Couple of, for the last couple of live streams, we've been talking about how hype might eventually come back to that level. So we got that today. So that was our hype scalp. Pity we missed that damn Aster one. I was asleep. Ugh, sleep is expensive. Where was that? Aster. Oh, the things that Drool is made of. That's it. So I even have my little alert sitting there, but it doesn't help if you're asleep. Right, what's going down? We are with, where were we? I've forgotten. Totals. Yeah, okay, so that's totals. Weekly totals hit the trend, so should be looking to bounce. Monthly, we still haven't hit our actual rejection. So just bigger picture, you're probably going to see a bounce based on these daily and weekly levels. And then we might just run straight into a monthly level, which isn't obviously going to mean the bounce will continue. So the bounce will be more of a relief rally, temporary move. It'll bring some more longs in, and then we're probably going to go up and hit something up in here, which is more of a monthly, and then it's likely to dump more. So, oh, we have joy. Okay. So I think, so it looks like it's trying to reverse here. Let's see. Guess we suck again is now we really suck. Yeah. Daily. All right, so daily's bouncing. So the daily candle did start from above. Started from above the trend. So it rejected off the prior broken trend, which is that little dotted line coming through there. If it has a fast reversal, the target's going to be 191. So it's just up here. But if it ends up stuck down here for too long, then the target's going to be, whatever gets created. So if this paused like this and just did not move for the next 18 hours and 53 minutes, then the target's going to be the underside of the range trend, or just basically it's just going to reject again from where it is now. if if it creeps up above that, then the target could be sort of this 182 level here, or 181.8. And if it does keep pushing up, then eventually the candle could actually get back above the trend and flip up, and then the target becomes this whole level up here, which would also be the test of the trend. So it all really just depends on how that recovery grows. Do you think we go much further down? Ah, look, you just don't know. When stuff happens this early in the candle's timeline, it can, it can it can keep dipping. I mean, we've got range trends here. We've got this is see this level here at 173. I think we will hit 173. I just don't know if we hit it today, because 173 would be the bottom of that liquidity, which that would be taking this little bit down here, and it sort of just depends on how long this candle sits here for, or whether they do find some reason to have another dump. I don't really know. Candles typically start to pull up as you get towards the end of their time, and we're certainly nowhere near the end of their time. So yeah, we might just get a bit of a pull up and then a push down to 173, and then that would clear 100% of the daily liquidity, and it would be a bounce off this range trend that's been coming through here, which has provided support previously, and that might create the move back up. What I'd be more concerned about is that the move back up will eventually hit the monthly rejection, and then all these daily levels can, they can go jump off the end of a long bridge at that point. It's just going to power through them. So that's what I would be a little bit more concerned about as far as the next drop that comes. So let's briefly look at these closes. Yeah, we've already looked at one day. Okay, so so 2 days hit the range trend. So it's the same thing really. It started from above the trend resistance. It's hit support. It just depends whether it recovers quickly or slowly. Like fast recovery, easy. Well, in fact, fast recovery, 191.8. It would end up back up there. Slow recovery, or say medium recovery, 187, and really slow recovery, 181. So it just totally depends how much time it spends down here, but it would have to spend 2 or 1 day 19 hours more here for that to become the TP, because that is not a hold level if that candle hasn't closed. So it's is what it is. So perfect tap, first test of the range trend bounce. So that was the 3-day close today. So you can see how they just pulled it down underneath the horizontal resistance to basically within the decimal places, and then just went goodbye. That's the rejection straight off there. Don't know about 1, 2, 3. Can't see that far ahead. All I can tell you about 1, 2, 3 is we'll go to 1, 2, 3. It's exactly the same thing I can tell you about we will go to $44 one day on Sol. I don't know whether that's now or whether that's 2 years from now. I just don't know. But I know we will go to $44. So you can put an order there and wait. Retire on Sol. That probably just scared the shit out of everyone who has spot, right? Sorry. Yeah. I mean, this is on so many trends. It's got 2 days and 19 hours to get back up again, which is quite a bit of time. But if it's still down here in 2 days and 19 hours, expect lower. that's basically all it is. Yeah, yeah. There's an untested range trend down at about $44, so it'll get tested one day. Hopefully, a bear market level or a new shiny toys come out level. It'll be something like that. It's I mean, like if you think about it, Sol is the current adopted mainstream blockchain. But what if something else comes out that's faster and cheaper? That's all it is, right? It's just new shiny toy. So price driven by speculation. Um, there is 5 times as many Sol tokens emitted through validators per day as the biggest ever day of gas fees during the meme coin craze. Right, so just to put it in perspective, even on those massive adoption meme coin events, there was still 5 times the amount of Sol tokens being emitted to validators as even that. So there is so much supply on the market in the hands of the very few players that they can move the price and do whatever the heck they want with it. So adoption would have to 5x even to catch up with current emissions. So price is based mostly on speculation. Anyway, end rant, retire on Sol. What do you got? 6-day. 6-day came from the top side of the range trend. It's not the first touch, so it came from top side of the range trend, top side of trend, but it was under the downtrend. So it's timeframes like this that might hit the 160s. Good news is they'll hit the 160s and they'll bounce, but it may end up back up over all that before, because it could just be this is oh geez, you can't even do this with the tool, it's so tight, but this little area in here is the tiny little wedge that candle was in. So this could technically just be a deviation, because they do quite often sweep the bottom of a wedge and then travel in the other direction. So yeah, probably has to. Okay, so I mean, but there's the thing. Sometimes I just rant about how everyone looks for a narrative for a pump. We've sat there for 2 days on live streams looking at that level, knowing it's going to do that when it gets hit. The only question we had with that level was because it was so close to almost being touched previously. Like this chart is the chart that didn't have that big candle on it. So this is, to just make this shit up, you can look at the videos that we put out. This was the chart. This is how it looked on the previous videos. And I put this little line on the bottom here going, geez, is that a rounding error because it's like only 6 away from the support? Does that mean that this was the support bounce, or are we going to get a bounce off that even though we're only to the 4th decimal place, 6 off it? And so then I was thinking, well, we might get this trend down here. We might come down, and this would have been a definite level because it's never, there's no tiny little almost touch of this level, right? So that would have been a definite level. And what happens? That happens. We hit a support level. The targets were always up here because there's nothing else to stop it. So it was always going to do that. And it was going to be hold level, break level, hold level. Those were your targets. So, I don't know. Was it a tweet? Or would it have just done it anyway? Did it happen that quickly because the tweet was there and therefore people would accept it happening that quickly? But the level was just always there. no different to how the level was always there on Sol BTC, and when we hit it just before the end of the day, or just into the day, or however that happened today or yesterday, we got that pump. The level was just always there. Now, no one probably is questioning Sol having a little strong pump, for $5 or $10 or however much it went up, but people sort of attached this to that tweet, but there was nothing to stop that price other than this candle up here. So it didn't technically have to go up this high, but it was an origin bounce, and origins generally target break levels. So it was definitely going to go that high, So I don't know. Yeah, maybe Marty would know. He knows. He always knew it was coming. Um, anyway, yeah, chicken and egg, eh? Was it going to happen? Maybe. Where were we? Definitely didn't get up to that one. Okay. Yeah, so that started from above the range trend. It's bouncing on the support. It's just time. Okay, so it should be going up. And that bounced on the support, so probably come back up, test the backside of that downtrend. Okay, that'll definitely come back up and test the hold level. It may have to dip a little bit more to the trend, so that's that move there would take that 173. Yeah, if a tree falls in the woods. Yeah, did it make a sound? Exactly. This will, one way or another, that structure tests that 173. It's either going to come down and do it at the trend and then go back up, or it's going to go up based off some of these other time frames and then come back down to the 173. So that's going to get it to 173 at some point. And this one is probably why we dumped straight away. Maybe. Let's see. No. We've got that surprise waiting for us, I think. How high did that go? No, we didn't quite touch that. Yeah, so we've still got some resistance sitting there at 189. So I don't think it's going to be smooth sailing to magically high numbers, but that is a 54-day candle, so it could push up a bit higher. Funnily enough, that trend sitting up there is about 191, so it's probably going to push to that. And once it rejects off this whole candle, it's going to come back down here, which is like 155, so eek. Unless it bounces off the backside of that trend at 168. But, fun times. I won't hear it, I'll just see it on the chart before it happens. See what this is up to. Yeah, it's pushing onto the trend. See, what you really want is a move like this one to kick in. Bounce that trend. Go to that break level. Be nice if it just ran up to 259, eh? It's never that easy. 70 would be the trend coming through here. So, or 170. Scary. Yeah, that's bearish, wrong side of trend. And our weekly. So I think the weekly ended up just stitching everybody ever so slightly. So they just they just pulled it down, unfortunately. And then we rejected off the backside of that older weekly origin that's in there. And the whole candle. And we've landed on this weekly origin. So as long as it doesn't go below that for the week, it'll end up bouncing back up at least to test that again. Just depends on time. Would you 100x? I'd never 100x a daily level because you can just go too far into it. You just can't 100x a daily level, really. The stop loss is too wide. So most exchanges will liquidate you at 0.6%. They'll start to liquidate you because they don't want to lose. Like exchanges don't liquidate you at 1% on a 100x trade, because if it goes to 1.1%, that's 110% of your money the exchange is losing, and it's coming out of their insurance fund, which they don't really want to dig into. So the quite often they'll liquidate you early. So you can't really 100x a daily move. You can very patiently wait for a reversal inside a daily move. Just watch the candle come down and down and down and down into it. Like, see this yellow candle here. This is actually a daily move, and it's a daily move based on this blue candle here. But if you'd taken the top of the candle here, now that's, I don't know, you'd only be 600 to 725% down on your 100x trade by the time it actually reversed. So yeah, if you're going to 100x a daily level, you've got to find the really greedy moment by refining it, and then you've got to wait very patiently to take it. So right, and the monthly. So this is why I think even if we flip it around, even if we get a bounce up, so monthly hold candles somewhere between 190.7 and above for a rejection back down to 167.918, and we didn't actually enter the whole candle at all, so it's still there. It's waiting to do a rejection. So once we enter anything above that sort of 190 area, or even 189 area, you'd probably want to start getting out of any long, because eventually it's going to roll over and come back down. Bitcoin, same thing. Pulled the candle down, made the new trend, rejected off the trend, dump. Landed on the horizontal levels. It's gone through, that was the prior, so it's gone through the prior trend. So as long as it pulls back up above that prior trend by the end of the day, pulls back up above that break level by the end of the day, it's good. It's on the origin level, it should bounce. This is exactly the same as how I was ranting about in my video today about like why has the Sol BTC chart not bounced? Like it should bounce, it should bounce, it should bounce. And then of course we got the bounce right near the end of the day. So this is the same thing. It's like it should bounce, it should bounce, it should bounce. But maybe they'll just wait. Maybe they'll wait till tomorrow or New York or something to bounce it. And yeah, it's tap support, it's dive through trends. This should go back up, but wait. If you're in a BTC, or if you wanted to long BTC and it does dive any further, then you've got that 6-day origin level sitting there at about 106, 106,621, which would be a scalping point. Depends again how it does it. Sorry, 2-day level. but it's already on a 2-day level. So, and it's already dived another 2-day level, so really it should bounce. Might take a little bit of time. And 3-day, that's completely fake. That's a fake dump. It's come from the top side of support and it's just dived all the way through. So you'd probably expect that whatever's happening now is going to be over in 3 days. Same with that. Straight through the range trend, down to the trend, into the support. 6 days, yeah, should be back up. In fact, what's the target for that? Yeah. Really wouldn't be surprised if that's back up at 112k. Certainly, that should be going back up. And they managed to bring that in. So this is, I think I talked about that 9-day one. So they brought the candle down just enough to open it under the range trend, which of course create that opportunity for rejection. Call it opportunity because like trends don't have to reject, but they can. So having this hold level here, having the candle on the wrong side of the trend, basically instant rejection from 2 points of polarity and then just straight down. But it's diving through the trend, so you'd expect as it gets towards the end of the candle it would start to pull up. And it's got support here. If it doesn't pull up in the next 8 days though, then all hell's going to break loose because it'll reject off the underside of that downtrend again, and bye bye. That's gonna have a pretty deep fall. And that's come from the top side of support. It's come down. It's testing the backside of the downtrend. Hasn't quite tapped that horizontal level, but that could easily move back up to 112, 700, 112, 800, 900, about that. It's got a first touch rejection that it hasn't done yet up here. If it pumps too quickly and goes through this trend and hits that range trend, that'll be a short. It'll dump back down again. And no hold level there. Came from up above the support. Set the trend. It'll probably go back up, but just time. 17-day time frame. Okay, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Cross margin. I use cross margin. That's a good one. So floating in the middle, hasn't hit the 111,700, hasn't hit the trend. So there'll be a move between these two levels at some point. So trend is currently down at 105. So if it sweeps 105, it should head back up to at least that. And that's a really crappy hold level. That's an easy to break hold level because it's not a full wick engulfment and it's only single candle. So yeah, if it hits that trend at 105, sweeps the last of that liquidity, and then bounces back up to 111,700, that would work. If it dives the trend, even better, because it's going to end up going back up, but unfortunately it's a really long time frame. It's just floating. So this has to do something. It either has to drop or go up, but first resistance here is about 115, then maybe 119. It may even close a yellow candle, on that, maybe. And then whatever the yellow candle is might create the topside range trend for the rejection. or it just rejects off one of these levels and absolutely dumps. But it hasn't triggered anything, it's just kind of there. So typically this kind of floating price, some other time frame has to push it up or down because there's nothing making this go up or down at this stage. It's just being controlled by everything else. And they ended up opening on the wrong side of the trend, so it can come down then up or up then down, but still floating. It's just floating. So that's the weekly, and the weekly's landed on the interior trend, so it could push back up to it's really hard, for this to. They really do need some kind of grey swan or something. They need Mexi to fail or some kind of exchange, blah blah. There's just so much support, but the target for this hold is 103, which it hasn't done yet, and there's all this stuff in between that's kind of making it a little bit hard to do the dump. They need the right narrative to attach to it, to just press the button and wick it through to here. So, and you got that like perfect confluence of going and hitting 102. You got the next layer of the trends, plus you've got that untested range trend. It's never had a first touch sitting down there, crossing over this week. It's time to go. Hurry up. But I guess they need a narrative. Yeah, the yes, you could look at longing 106, you could look at longing 105, 104, 103. Realistically, the biggest time frame we have in play right now is pointing to about 93,570 on BTC. So it all just comes down to how quickly do they want to dump it. Because they might go to 106 and then back to 111 and then reject 111 and go to 103. Like it's just well, maybe they go back to 112 and then reject 112 again and go down. Like it's just, you don't get too many times that price just goes straight like that. Usually it's gonna, because you need to range up and down to build liquidity. People aren't going to long if the price is just red candle, red candle, red candle, red candle with no little moves up. Like they start to long because the price does a little move up, and that makes the liquidity to go down further. So it's even this kind of stuff is just like it might come back up here. Since you don't build a swing back now, yep, just trade level by level. So like that, just that hype trade today. That's all you need. You just need one of those a day. It's gone higher, but yeah, whatever. I actually entered it just here because I saw it nearly touched. Nearly touched. I mean, this is not much of a rejection considering what some other tokens have dumped by. It's taken this days to come back to that level because it's been quite bullish, and it almost took off before really even touching the entry. So I entered there, TP'd here, job done. That's what you need. Haven't even looked at the others yet, but versus say Fartcoin, which Fartcoin has created an interior trend, opened on the wrong side of it. It's still under the trend, so it's still heading down. It's probably going to find that greedy. Don't know where it's gone. We had a greedy entry on here somewhere, but it's probably looking for. It's a weekly. Might have been a daily. Yeah, so that's retested prior trend. Yeah, So it's going after some kind of liquidity. It may even retest this trend, which is really low down, like 0.23. So it could come all the way down to there. Or it's just going to bounce from where it is now, but it'll just do it close to the end of the candle. This is still coming down, so there'll be a trade in this. Hasn't reached entry yet. Just put an alert on this one, eh? Maybe this is tomorrow's money. If you've got the balls to do it, you can probably take this from, or you can try at least to take it from the 1 to the 2. You might get that trade because that's a pretty decent pump. So quite often, if they close at these higher levels, they see how it went all the way up and just tapped the 4. So perfect touch of the 4. So this is your range. That's the top of the range, and the actual bottom of the range is this, not this. Okay, this is the hold of the range. So the range should be created between these levels and either break out to the top or fail, and then the hold of the range, which is the fib trade opportunity, is the thing that usually has the minimum amount, and the hold of the range is the one that either recovers everything, goes up to an all-time high, or an all-new high above the range, or it gives you the minimum bounce and fails. So this could have some opportunities just in these levels. Hasn't quite hit it yet, but yeah, that's still 13% if it just bounces between those two levels. What's that doing? Okay, so that's hit. That's hit origin support now. So it's stuck under the trends, but it's going to try to bounce back to that hold level, which it may not have hit. Yeah. Don't think I hit it. So you could look to take along on that. Unfortunately, it's going to take. It's going to have to do it with this candle, like almost like a trend recovery, or or it might get stuck under the trend. So you just have to keep an eye on it for tomorrow. If it doesn't bounce fast enough, it'll get stuck. So what percentage is that? Oh yeah, 7%, 8%, so it's not too bad. It bounces back up nicely. Okay. I'm just going to put a very small trade on that one. Nothing that's going to kill me. 63999. Okay, so I've got that. Uh, ETH. So ETH has dived the range trend It's probably going to pull back up before the end of the day. It's not really worth taking anything on that. Oh, those poor people that chased. Oh, poor people. Anyway. Markets are horrible. Oh, geez. I should have kept that open. I ended up changing my TP on this just to the break level when it created this break level. I changed my TP to the 1852. But it ended up getting to that 20 cent mark that we talked about. So that's job done. That's the first touch from origin level, so don't long that. But if it closes under that level, you can probably get a short off that. Just need to find what time frame that's on. It's not actually a 4-hour. So yeah, the next candle, if it closes underneath it, might drop. Shit, that's bullish. So this one, SPX. So that was between there and there. That's done. Next level would be down here. So you could look to take that to there. 21%. So it wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, and if the candle pulls back up by the end of the day, then you could long between these two again, but if it does. And if it doesn't and it goes up, it'll probably reject off the back of that, come down to here, so you could short it and then long it. Okay. This will be a long back down in here when it gets there. It's just rejected off, so it's failed to hard close over the top of the hold level. Blah 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 blah. Shut up. It's failed to close over the top of the break level. I wonder people never understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, next point of call. So you've got lazy entry, you've got this origin level at, which is coming through from that candle, cutting through here. So you've got that at 2.15397, so there'll be a long in there. Zcash is dying, finally. I wouldn't take this long. You could take that long. Or do you take that long? Do you take that long? If you do take that long, just TP it before that wick. Seems hardly worth it, actually. That'd be a better candle along if it ever comes back down there. Look at that crossover of all the range trends, and a hold level, and a 5% move. So If it goes for a nice swan dive, then on that one. Soul's pulling back down again. Yeah, it looks like Soul's actually gonna create a 1 hour hold candle to the downside, so you might see 173 sooner than you think. That. Yeah, bearish. Yeah, we suck again. Yeah. Nah, there was too much rejection up there. It was just a case of what was it going to reject off. I don't think there was ever a case of no rejection. It was more a case of playing chicken with resistance and trying to figure out how high it would go. And we have our answer. We kind of got given our answer with that 15-minute range that they created. Just in, it was in here. Yeah. No, it wasn't that one, was it? That one? That one. It was that one. Yeah, that sort of gave us our answer. Because it lined up with all of the various levels. So up there we went. And down we went. Where would you put a stop loss if you're going to long 173? Okay, let's have a look. Unfortunately, you've got to put it below. Yeah, nah. You just have to wait. You have to wait. Because normally you would put it below the wick of the candle that created the origin level, but that's the December 10 wick. So you'd have to put it below 142. So it's a long way down. So what you'd be better to do is just see how it behaves when it hits it and wait for closer to the close of the candle and then make a decision on the trade. Because even just to put it in perspective, where this daily candle is now, it's on the wrong side of a support level. So if they keep it there for the next 18 hours and do not let it go up, or even if they do go up but then bring it down before the close, then they can reject off the backside of that and just keep traveling down. So the the biggest problem is time. Like when you're taking a high time frame trade, um, you can't really know that this is just going to keep rolling up until you get close to the end. And you look at this as an example of what's actually happening in liquidity. You know, it's just sitting on that ginormous block. So yeah, okay, it could go up, but it's also it'll be pretty damn easy for it to just cascade through all of this. And then BTC hits 105. Meanwhile, Sol just dumps all the way down to at least that 173 when that goes down. Or maybe they want to bring in some bigger leverage, like 100x leverage or something. So they might just bring this up, take this, then people go, great, we're going up, and then they start to up the size of their trades, and then it comes back down. So, yeah. And see, we've got over here the high time frame liquidity has started to appear on Sol, and it's like 186 down to 170. So that's so effectively the liquidity is moving down, which is kind of indicative of a downtrend. Surprise, surprise. Thank you, Master Chef. Yeah, thought we were going up, went to sleep. How many times do you go to sleep, wake up, and go, oh shit? That's what BNB's doing. It took a nosedive, didn't it? So that's gone down to the trend. So, same thing, same as every other token. It either pulls back up somewhere in the next 18 hours, gets above this level here, and then bounces, or it stays under it, gets stuck between these two levels, or most bearish scenario is it does not get up, opens the next one on the other side of the trend, hits the back side of the trend, rejects. Or actually, I suppose even more bearish will be continues pushing down and goes back under this trend. Because technically, that is not a trend break, that candle, because the corner's touching the trend. So, yeah, it could push back down, close under here, reject again. So it's very, very possible. And ETH ended up pushing down underneath that key level there that we'd marked out. So rejected off the backside of that. It's trying to break the trend. So that's pretty bearish. Yeah, most of the stuff looks BTC. Yeah. Nasty looking candles, these. I wonder if we did get that. What was it? 140? Was it 43 day? No, so that already, that was a long, that's done. That wasn't what I was thinking of. BTC. Yeah, so this still hasn't bounced back up yet either. Too long to go. So yeah, we will go back up. It's just how much more do they liquidate first and when do they go back up? So this could easily go to 102 and then start working its way back up to 114. Still hasn't tapped it yet. And today is a prime day. Insert Elmo Chaos memes. And then tomorrow we have a whole bunch of closes, but don't need to worry about that for 48 hours. Short-term sol. Yeah, it didn't get over the 1618. So that was that whole candle there. Could have entered in here and just TP'd up there for $1. Created a range trend, fell straight through it. Still bearish. It's not breaking that trend. So you could probably start to put cycle trends on this and just keep checking the candles to see if any of them have confluence with levels like that one. That has confluence. So level 4, 184 is the backside. So that's that kind of thing there. It's not perfect, but it's close. And then there's probably through here. I don't know. Maybe not that candle. Nah. No, it's probably not going to be that candle. So you could just keep checking candles, and if you get a blue candle like this and you chuck your fib levels on it, and if the levels line up with, if each one of them lines up with some kind of resistance, then that's probably going to be the reversal candle. So doesn't look like that one. Yes, not that one. Yeah. So it's probably going to go for a little bit more. The other thing you can do is start counting trends. So you've got 1, 2, so it's had one trend break from here, because that's on the trend, so that's the first one. So by the time you've got about 5 or 6 trend breaks from these ranges up here, it might be ready to reverse, wherever that comes from. But one is not really enough. So that might bounce up to this or this. It's kind of another sign of like how bullish is it, because it only has to bounce to there, but it could bounce up to there. So whenever price just rejects off the backside of a range and just keeps on breaking trends, then it's just bearish and it's just going to keep going down. When it starts testing the front side hold candles, it's usually going to start proper ranging, and then of course it has to break the break level before it actually can move up. But At least we've got an uptrend. So let's see if it rejects off this or heads up here. Right. Okay, so daily liquidity is, as long as it doesn't start to build out to the downside again, which that's kind of what you don't want to see, but I definitely expect this to get taken, whether it's now London session or New York. That 105 area is just, it's there. And I'd expect that 173 to get taken. Whether they travel up first to induce a bit more liquidity and then come back, that's the question. But I don't think they're going to leave that behind, and I don't think they'll leave that behind. But have been wrong before. So watch for about 5 or 6 breaks of trend, and then maybe you get a reverse. Chuck your fib tool on whatever candle is the start of it, and just see if it has hold levels or break levels that line up with the 4 different levels. And they may be and that kind of gives you a bit of an idea that that is going to become the base of the range. So add that with the confluence of the multiple trend breaks, and that'll give you a bit of an idea that it's starting to reverse. Combined with liquidity, and you want to see the short-term, you sort of want to see the short-term liquidity start to build to the upside. So everyone's getting bearish, they're really happy with their shorts and they're taking more risk, and that's usually when it starts to move up. So when you have big gaps, like these gaps up in here, this gap up in here, it's less likely to move up. It's more likely just to go sideways for a bit until the liquidity builds. But yeah, if it builds up too much to the downside, then it'll probably just keep going down. And easy peasy. Job done. Quick stream today. I need to definitely spend time with my couch because it's missing me, and with my beer fridge because it's missing me. Hopefully that helps. Besides liquidity, is there any reason for price to travel lower? It's really just always about liquidity. If price goes down, it's not about liquidating people, it's about building positions. So price goes up so that it can move down, and price goes down so that it can move up. And it's because if you had a $300 million position you want to open, you can't just hit market open, and because the price will just move too much and the spread will be horrible. You also can't just put a limit order in there because it just won't get filled. Like, that's the problem. It'll just take ages to fill it. But what you can do is you can have limit orders sitting in amongst areas of liquidity where things get liquidated, where people get liquidated. And then if you trigger the liquidations, it'll push into your orders and your orders will get filled. And they'll get filled with very little spread. And then you have this big position, and then all you got to do is push it into the liquidity in the other direction and close your position. So yeah, effectively, unless big players leave the market, price will always be attracted to liquidity because it's the only way big players can open their positions efficiently. Hey, couch time. All right. we'll see you all later. And yeah, not a bad area. Not a bad area. All right. Bye, 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 bye.